So let's see. 20 people. We just breached 20 people in the lobby. Hello, everyone, especially those who just entered the lobby. Welcome here again. Welcome in the cloudy Prague today. And make yourself comfy, as I told to your colleagues which arrived previously. We are gonna start. Oh, actually, we are gonna start just right now. All right, everyone. Hello and welcome again here in this webinar. My name is Jiří Čepe, and I'm going to be your main host throughout today's webinar. So, and talking about the hosting and presenters, who is going to be today with us? So, mainly, I need to present our main presenter, who is Karel. Hello, Karel. And
hello everyone.
Who is going to be our main presenter? He has some really interesting presentation. I saw the presentation and you can look forward to see it. And he is a founder of Scrum Dojo CZ and also our main presenter, as I told you. Together with Karel, I have here my colleague Flora Opschondek. Hello, Flora.
Hello, nice to see you here.
She's going to have also the presentation at the end, so let's wait for it. Okay, so, and talking about these presentations, what you're about to see today. So what is going to be the agenda? Yeah, and then, well, the introduction, we already introduced to you yourself, to you. So, and then we are going to have a presentation and Q&A. What you're going to see, you're going to see the presentation, which is going to take approximately about 45 minutes, plus minus. And unfortunately, during that time, the chat and your microphones are muted. But you can look forward to hear and see some interesting information about today's topic, which is backlog and how to not get overwhelmed by it. Yeah. So no worries. We are prepared to answer your questions, which you can ask in Q&A section. So leave your comments over there or questions, and we will answer most of them. Yeah, later on, or during the presentation. You can also ask the question in Q&A section during the presentation, like I told you, and not wait just for the end, okay? So all this webinar is recorded, so you will get these email with the recording in few days later on, you know? So don't worry, if you miss something today, you can rewatch it later on, okay? So, and that's technically all from the introduction and from my side, and let's jump into this presentation. So without further ado, I would like to now pass the floor to Karel, who is going to continue sharing his awesome presentation. So Karel, it's all yours.
Thank you very much. Hello everyone. Can you hear me? Can I get some feedback that you hear me? Excellent, yeah. Excellent. So welcome to this webinar. When we were choosing its topic, one of the things that I see quite often at my clients, I am in the industry of software development for around 20 years or something, and 15 years out of it, I has been a Scrum developer, Scrum master, product owner, and a mostly consultant helping companies adopting Scrum and Agile to build better products and better software. Most of my clients struggle with having too many things in their backlogs. And the more backlogs, the more stuff in the backlogs. And everyone is struggling with it. And they ask me, so how to prioritize? There is so many priorities. So let me share my screen. And I have picked these excellent 30 prioritization techniques. Just give me a second. I need to find the Zoom window. It disappeared somewhere. Oh, I can't see it. Anyways, these excellent prioritization techniques, 30 of them. We have roughly 30 minutes. So that's 1 minute per prioritization technique. So let's get started. No, I'm joking. I'm joking, actually. We will not go through these. I have experience with most of these, but I can tell you one thing. When I see a backlog full of stuff, the lack of knowledge of prioritization techniques is usually not the problem. The problem lies completely elsewhere, is probably much deeper. And what we will be doing today is exploring how does it happen in the first place, what are the causes, and let's see if the causes are what you see in your companies. Maybe you struggle with them as well. And I will have some tips how to overcome them. So feel free to take a screenshot of this list. Google those techniques. They are fun, some of them. Many of them are helpful. Some of them are just the variations of the others. It's not really 30 of them, it's just a few patterns. Anyway, we will go doing something completely different. So if you have too many backlog items in your backlogs, a lot of things to do, the only way how to get rid of them is to do proper backlog refinement. Now, let me explain for a bit what is a backlog refinement. I see many companies somehow misrepresent this term sometimes. This is not that a product owner explains a requirement to the team and the team votes with the planning poker cards how many story points they estimate. That's not the activity. Refinement is to create a shared understanding of customer and stakeholder needs. That's the main purpose of the refinement. And the result of refinement is having a tidy backlog with just those items that are actually necessary. Now, let me help how to read these arrows. The arrows between stickies is an influence. And the arrow points to the direction of influence. So the quality of refinement influences the shared understanding of customer and stakeholder needs. This is actually its main purpose. And shared understanding of customer and stakeholder needs does influence, among others, the number of items in the backlog. And this little O denotes is the opposite influence. So the better the understanding of the needs, the less items in the backlog we have on average. Why? Because when we understand the needs, we include only those items that are necessary, and we can easier tell which items actually are not necessary. When we do not have this understanding, or when our understanding is poorer or smaller, then it is hard to tell, and we keep those items in the backlog anyway, because who knows? So this is how to read it. I will be adding more influences, and let's explore the dynamics behind backlogs getting overwhelmed. So one thing that influences the quality of refinement is the clarity of priorities. If we do know what is important from the perspective of the product strategy, of the company strategy, it is easier to do the refinement, and it is easier, therefore, to understand better customer needs, and it is easier, therefore, to remove unnecessary items and keep the backlog manageable, realistic, and focused. And clarity of priorities, among others, are influenced by the number of stakeholders. The more stakeholders, the more likely there are more competing priorities. So as you can see, there is an arrow from the number of stakeholders to number of competing priorities. It is not to say is the exact same amount, but the more stakeholders, the more competing priorities. And the more competing priorities, little o, the lower clarity of priorities. So you might have been overwhelmed by the number of stakeholders and actually not fully understand what is important, and having the backlog grow over all the limits. Another influence which influences the quality of refinement is the time and effort spent refining. So these refinement sessions. And these are sessions that sometimes I see that the developers and people in Scrum teams dread and avoid. It's another meeting. It takes us away from doing the work. However, the more we spend refining, the better the refinement, the better the understanding. Now, let me point out what is especially important, and I see in practice not very often, is that the developers or the whole Scrum team engages with the users and the customer. This is the core of agile software development. This is the core of Scrum, that the whole Scrum team understands the user, they engages. And one point of engagement is throughout refinement sessions. So it's not product owner or business analyst explaining thought out requirements to the team. It is team talking to actual users and understanding them. This is where the idea of user story comes from. It's not an agile requirement, it's the actual story of the user who explains what are their woes and pains and joys of using your product. And talking to them requires effort and time. However, there might be some teams who are reluctant to spend this time. So why does this happen? Everybody knows this. If we talk to the users, we understand them. If we understand them, we focus on the important things. Why are we not spending enough time with it? It might be because we feel being under pressure. And what I'm now drawing, the picture you see with the arrows, with the stickies, is the dynamics I observe very often in companies I work with, helping them to adopt agile product development. And the pressure is everywhere. So as you can see, little o, the more pressure, the less time we are willing to spend refining the backlog. The less we understand the customer needs, the less we are able to tell what to keep in the backlog and what not. And then the backlog grows and grows. And then we feel even more under pressure. So it's like a vicious circle. So where does the pressure come from? It usually comes from stakeholders not being happy. And by stakeholders, I mean all of them, not just the internal stakeholders like other managers or salespeople and so on, but your users and customers are also your stakeholders. The main one, actually. You might have known this key notion of a key stakeholder. So they are among them as well. So their satisfaction influences the pressure and how to make them happy, how to make stakeholders satisfied. And this is what I again observe in companies a lot. It is influenced by two things: by the progress being made every single sprint. Actually, the bigger the progress, the bigger the satisfaction, the less pressure, but also transparency of the progress, transparency over the progress. And these go hand in hand. If your progress is good, but the transparency is bad, stakeholders are not satisfied. They might not see the actual progress because it's muddled by various reports. So what does create the transparency of progress? I will be showing an example from my actual client, how it can be done by stickies on the wall, nothing else. And with a good visualization, you can improve the transparency. I see teams using all sorts of tools with nice graphs and roadmaps and velocity charts and all sorts of things, but they actually do not really represent the actual progress very often. So the transparency of progress is made easier if your backlog is actually short. And the bigger the backlog, the messier the backlog, the harder it is to make the progress transparent. And also it helps to having the clarity of priorities. The clearer the priorities, the easier it is to create an engaging visualization of the progress and engage with the stakeholders and make them happier over the actual progress. So you can see there is this vicious cycle. You can see it by the even number of little O's. So the more items in the backlog, the harder to make the process, the progress transparent. The less happy are the stakeholders, the more pressure they do, the less time we spend refining the backlog. Therefore, the less understanding we have of the backlog. Therefore, the more items we keep in the backlog and reinforcing the pressure furthermore. So there is not really a root cause which you can remove because it reinforces itself. So the progress made throughout the sprint is reinforced by quality of planning. If you do Scrum or similar agile planning method, you plan every other week or every week, and you plan from your backlog. So the quality of planning is influenced by the quality of refinement. If you do not really understand the customer needs well, then the backlog is messy. If it's messy, then the plan is vague and unrealistic, and then the real progress is not really made, and then the stakeholders are unhappy. So this is another reinforcing loop, which is not really helpful. And progress made during a sprint is also hindered by a number of interruptions. And one of the dreaded type of interruption is fixing bugs on the production. And it is influenced by the software quality, obviously. So the better the quality, the less bugs, less incidents, and the less interruptions, and the more we can focus on actually building more stuff instead of fixing existing things. And the software quality is also hindered by the pressure, because the bigger the pressure, then we might be compromising quality, we might be not actually doing our best. So this is another reinforcing loop. You can see there is again an even number of O's. So I did not model the whole reality. We could go on and ask for each individual sticky in this model. What else is influenced by this, or what else does influence this particular aspect? But this is a circle of misery, which I see quite often. This is why I made it a topic of today's webinar, to actually uncover that the mess in the backlog is not usually the root cause. The lack of prioritization techniques, which I showed in the first slide at the beginning, is not a good solution for that, because it will not necessarily remove the pressure in the first place. So let's have a look which of these things you as product owners, if you joined in the role of product owners, can influence. And I emphasize these 4 green stickies. These are things that can be directly influenced. Other things you might influence indirectly. For example, influencing the pressure from the stakeholders is by making them happy. You can't relieve the pressure easily by itself. But these things you may, in your organization, influence directly. Maybe some other of them, but I am focusing on these 4. So let's make a short survey among the participants. I see there is already over 50 of you. It's excellent. So let's make a short poll, and please answer, check those of these 4 stickies. Which do you struggle the most? And you can pick any number of them, 1, 2, 3, or 4. So you should see a poll quiz window that popped out somewhere on your screen. So please check those of these 4 that you are struggling in your organization, in your team, in your company the most, and pick any number of them. These are checkboxes. So let's see. So I don't see the results. Are people still voting?
Yeah, people are still voting. I can see it right here. I wasn't sure, to be honest, if you can see it or not. So they're still voting, and I'm going to end the poll right now, the poll right now, and I'm going to share the results with you. So, are you seeing the results right now?
Yes, I do. Don't know about
Perfect.
others. So over 50%, 56% people struggle with the transparency of progress, and even more, 59% with the clarity of priorities. Time and effort spent with refinement, 39%, software quality, 27%. As a software developer myself, it pleases me that only 27% struggle with software quality, but these numbers are not really too much of a surprise to me. So what can we do? What can we do? So first, let's start with the transparency of progress. And what I see, most of the tools on the market suck at it. People are overwhelmed with graphs and reports and numbers and charts and all sorts of things, and this just muddles the water. One thing to see the progress on the actual sprint review. This is the purpose of the sprint review, is to not only get feedback on the product, but evaluate the sprint and also evaluate the progress toward whatever you are aiming at. And then it helps to have a good visualization. And the actual backlog serves mainly to the Scrum teams to plan their work. So it contains a lot of items which are small. Small items are good because we want to make them small to finish them within the sprint end to end. But then it might be overwhelming for external people, and it is hard to navigate for them. So showing them just the backlog is not enough. And you might have experimented with a lot of other techniques. I will not point any particular one. However, it's good to have a coarse-grained visualization, maybe over epics if you are using a tool with this kind of entity, some bigger topics or themes or features, and also showing some kind of a timeline. And I will show you very soon a photo of the actual backlog I had at the client with a financial industry, insurance company, large company, one of the biggest players on the European market, so not some startup, with stickies on the wall. The backlog was actually, it was pre-COVID, stickies on the wall. And I will just show how messy it is, and at the same time makes the progress transparent with some other views. So stay tuned. This is really important, and I see it really be lacking in companies. The reason why I will be not showing too many different ways is that there are many different ways, and each context has different needs. For example, if you are working in a product development, so you don't really know what features would be important 3 months from now. You may think, but after the 3 months pass, the priorities can change entirely because of the changes of the market or better understanding on the customers. It is usually good to show this is what we are working now, this is what we are working soon, and this is what we will be working later, maybe not. So not giving any dates, not giving any commitments, just see the queue of the features of the topics. This is, for example, how Microsoft Edge visualizes their own roadmap. You see a number of features and you can only see this is planned, this is in progress, this is soon, this is maybe sometimes, we don't know, we don't really know. However, if you are in the context of developing projects in agile way, people usually say project and agile do not go together. Well, yes and no. It might be somehow fixed scope, for example, some regulatory requirements or some features which are necessary, and it takes larger amount of time to develop with some kind of a deadline. Then it is good to visualize some kind of a burn down chart or burn up chart, which can see the progress toward some fixed scope. So these are two very different visualizations for two very different contexts, but they might help actually create a transparency over the progress. Next, absolutely necessary is clarity of the product vision. And this is something product owners not only may influence, but it is their key part of their job description to bring the product vision front and center. I cannot really show you some real life examples because it is a sensitive, it might be sensitive information, sharing product visions, internal product visions of my clients' products. However, again, there is a multitude of various techniques, but my advice is you cannot overshare the product vision. making some kind of a canvas and putting it on the wall is not enough. It's good to point to the product vision every single opportunity and reminding people where they are heading to. And the product vision and some kind of a product goal, maybe you are using OKRs, they should help you to prune the product backlog and keep only those items that are leading to the vision. This is the activity that first, the vision, you cannot really overshare it, and pruning the backlog, you need to do it all the time. I see product owners being attached to every feature, every backlog item, every user story they put to the backlog. But the longer the item stays in the backlog, the less likely it will be ever developed or built or shipped. And usually if it's half a year old, it is unlikely to get done. So feel free to delete all items which are half a year old or older, because before you get to them, before they will be on your plate, things will change anyways in a lot of different ways. So people sometimes ask me, so how many items is a good number to have in the backlogs? There is a magic number, there is a magic formula. I will not share it because it requires more explanation. But if it's over 100, it is probably a lot. And I've seen backlogs with 400 items. Nobody knew what was there. I've seen the backlogs with 3,000, even 7,500 of items. It was just a dump of stuff. Nobody had any idea what to do. So feel free to prune things. If it's necessary, it will come back. It will come back, but mostly not. When I was showing this talk to a friend of mine who is doing similar job as I, helping companies with Agile, and he was giving me feedback, he told me about this company, about this team who had 3,000 items in the backlog. So they closed all the items 3 months old or older. Everyone got an email that these items are being closed, and if they really need it, they can come back. And they were left with 50 items, which were younger than 3 months, and they reopened 20 of them based on the feedback of the original posters of those items. So that was quite of a pruning. But what is necessary is understanding customer needs, is the clarity of priorities, is the clarity of the vision, because this gives you this how it's called, this yardstick to know if it helps or it's not. It makes it much easier to remove things that will never get done. And also it will help immensely to align the various product stakeholders and remove the number of competing priorities, which in turn will make quality of refinement easier and so forth. So let me just check questions. There is a question in the Q&A. I have many tasks that I need to create that we are not working right now, but may work in the future. Do you suggest then to have one general backlog and then other backlogs having tasks that needs to be worked on sooner? So if it's something that you know will be done later on, maybe keep it as a 1 or 2 bigger, vaguer backlog items. And do not split it into too many small ones before you are sure that this will get on your plate. Maybe keep it big, vague item which keeps in the backlog, meaning we intend to work on this. And as it comes closer to now, like we should start working on it in 2-3 sprints, then start refining and start slicing the items into smaller one and put into backlog only those that you know or you hope are necessary. There is no need to do too much analysis and slicing and splitting upfront and keeping all the detail in the backlog before you are sure it will get done. So this is my general advice. Keep it in the backlog, but not too much detail, only after it's necessary. So last thing, the software quality is in the hands of the Scrum team of developers. However, when they feel being under pressure, which they might, there might be compromising the quality, either openly or secretly, probably secretly, and compromising the definition of done. Definition of done in Scrum is a key artifact or commitment that will show us what is our intended internal quality of the software, which we shouldn't compromise. And while most of it is done by the Scrum team and the developers, product owners should not just be blind to it and should be mindful of the quality. Not necessarily control it or check it or not trust developers. This is not good, but be aware and having a quality as a must, and better start removing the pressure so that the quality can be proper. And all these things play together. So before you can do anything, number one is to start removing the pressure if it is something that bugs you, and you can remove it only making stakeholders happier. An absolutely necessary step is to improve the transparency of the progress. Either way, they will see that the actual progress is good or not. If it's not good, but it's still the actual progress, it is still transparent, we can constructively work with it. If the transparency is low, we make things up or show things that are not really true, and the stakeholders can make false assumptions. There will be pressure and everything will be harder for everyone. So removing the pressure is the actually key point. Making the progress more visual is required. Working on clarity of priorities is required. Then you can start focusing on the software quality if it's something that you struggle with. So if you have any more questions, feel free to add them. We have time. Now let me show you actual product backlog. Do not read the items, not necessarily. This is 5 years old, so I'm not sharing any sensitive information already. But this is actual backlog of an actual team. This was actually 5 teams. It was 25 to 30, something like that, 25 to 30 people combined, working with a single product owner on a single product, quite a large product, having a single product backlog on the wall. Nobody knew how to use Jira, luckily, so we could use the more helpful visualization. As you can see, the blue stickies in the middle under the product backlog headline is the actual product backlog, is the list of things to do. And this is quite messy. The people in the teams knew what's there. The product owner knew what's there. It was very helpful for planning sprints, for formulating sprint goals, for working together. It was immensely helpful. But for outside people from the team who were regularly coming to the sprint reviews, there was like over 60 people joining the sprint reviews because they really were interested in the product of this group. They really didn't know anything about the blue stickies because they were too detailed, but that's not the point. The blue stickies were for the teams to plan their work. The initiative stickies, the pink one, are the big things, the big initiatives or projects or however you call them. This was something with a business significance, with an impact on the business, on the customers, on in this particular case also on the partners of the company. It was an insurance, so it has a lot of partners selling their products. And these were those the team was focusing on. It was not really too few, it was 5 actually. And these break down into what this particular team called features. You might call it topic. The orange stickies, there is still quite a bunch of them, but they are ordered by priorities. And this is an entity which is more comprehensible to outside stakeholders, and then suddenly saw how things are going. And the more important view was the roadmap view, which was just a timeline with those little stamps, and every stamp, a little umbrella, little ship, little car, as you can see, mapped to one of the initiatives and a few of the features, and gave somehow not really a plan, but an outlook of what would be working on at what point of time. So this helped immensely to see a coarse-grained helicopter view of the progress to people outside of the team, and at the same time to keep the team focused on what is the most important. The team worked with this kind of visualization for roughly 2 years before COVID struck, and then had to use some online tools in which we were not really able to replicate this kind of a view easily. And 2 more things to add. They had a special area for inbox. This is give us any idea you have, anyone, people from outside of the team, from the team's product owner. These are ideas we should contemplate. They didn't put them to the backlog directly. They put them into an inbox. It was visible. Everybody was sitting there, so we saw that. And anytime there was a refinement session, we first went through the inbox quickly, discuss the ideas quickly, and it was either put to the backlog or to refinement session or to the trash bin if we found that this idea actually is not necessary or important. And the area above inbox are items waiting to be refined. So this teams had a weekly refinement session every Tuesday morning, and these topics were there to be refined, so everybody knew what would be the topic of the refinement, what would be expectations of the refinement, whom to invite, what kind of stakeholders, users, subject matter experts, partners, and customers for the refinement session to go through their needs. So the main artifact the team worked with was the middle one, but all these outside areas was helping immensely to communicate with the rest, and it was enough. We didn't have any charts, we didn't have any reports. We had a bi-weekly sprint reviews and a bunch of stickies on the wall, and most of the people joining had some kind of a idea of the actual progress, which was very, very transparent, and therefore this team could focus on the key things, that is the software quality, understanding customers, and focusing what is the most important. One last thing, when I love this kind of physical boards, is that they limit you physically by the number of items you can put it actually on there. So there is no way there is 1,000 items, because they just don't fit to the wall. And there are tools which want to be similar to the experience of a physical board, and Flora will tell you about Easy Read My Scrum boards, whose one of the design principle is to get close to the actual physical board. So I don't see any questions in the Q&A, so maybe I can put the word to Flora. So thanks a lot, everyone, for your attention, and Flora will go next.
Hello, thank you, Karel, for your presentation. And today I will give you just a short presentation or short teaser of the Easy software and our new tool, Scrum boards. We will focus today on the topic, so I will show you how the backlog can be managed with our new tool. Iji, can you just confirm that you can see my screen? Okay, great. So here, what you see right now, I'm in the trial version of our application. If you are not user of our app, you can open it from our website and test it for 30 days. Here, I'm on the dashboard for the Scrum boards. If you wanna get here, you just go here to the global menu and find the Scrum boards. They still have the sticker new, so it's easy to find them, to identify them. So today I will be focusing mostly on the backlog, but just for you to know, we have these 3 boards separated. So all the process basically separated to 3 different boards. The product backlog boards, when there is the managing of the backlog and where is the main area for the product owner. Then there's a sprint overview board that is designed for planning the sprint. And the third part is the sprint board itself, when the team is working on the currently running sprint. So this is basically designed to make the work very simple and easy, visually easy. And today I will be focusing on the product backlog board. So I'm opening the list of the boards, and here in the trial we have one testing board created for you, so you can see how it's visualized. And this is how it looks. So we basically have the area split here into 3 sections to help us visually, transparently handle the content here, what items are coming towards us. And let's start from one basic thing. The main entity in the Scrum board is not a task, but product backlog item. This is the difference with many different other softwares. This was designed to make it basically easier and more flexibly working with the items, easier to categorize them and move them around the section or split them into smaller one. So here on the very left side, we have the inbox. Here will come any tasks, any request from the different projects from a different team. So through this inbox, some other stakeholders, or through the task, through the existing project, some requests can come towards the team. So once someone will assign our task existing in the application to the product board, it will appear here in the inbox. And once the product owner will decide that, okay, this is a time when we actually will have a look on this item and this is relevant for us, we'll simply move this item over here, and this is how the PBI will be created. If this item is not relevant for us, or the product owner will decide that it's not the line how the product will be developed, we can simply very easily delete it from here, and this will not delete the task, so we will not anyhow impact the project. It will basically make the information that the task was deleted from the product board. They are not related to each other, so we basically clear the relation this way. And here we are having already some PBIs. Our software, our new Scrum boards allow us basically, as Karel said, to simulate this simple method of working on the wall and simply categorize and move items transparently. We can use different colors, so we can basically drag a color and drag the color and assign it. My mouse is getting kind of tricky, sorry. This will not, I will change it from here. It usually works. It's just my mouse being kind of old. But basically we can change the colors and basically this way create some categories that visually straight away tell us some information about the items. We can, like that, for example, categorize the urgency. So for example, we can keep visually, okay, red is the most important one, and mark them this way. We can use colors to, for example, mark the stakeholders, so visually see, okay, this is the category of PBIs that comes from this one source, for example, from this certain person of ours, or from the inside of the company, or this is something that comes towards us from our customer. So we can use those colors to visually basically give us the information where this item comes from. And additionally, if we need some more visual information, we can use here in the name, we can add some emojis. As you can see here, there is some dollar signs to mark the financial, for example, finance related items and so on. I'm working as well as part of the data analyst team, and we basically, this is how we are also working in our team. So we categorize this way, for example, the items coming from some specific meeting with the stakeholders, or if the items coming from particular stakeholder, we will mark them with some particular emoji. So then we can clearly see, and if needed, for example, delete some and keep it clear, because sometimes over time the items can get duplicated or irrelevant, or it also helps you to, for example, get back to the certain stakeholder very clearly. So this is the one of the ways basically we can use those different categorization to visually very quickly differentiate the items. We can also very smoothly move them around. So for example, we can just decide, okay, we are working here together and with some specific stakeholders on the refined session, and we can mark those related items close to each other to keep them visually together. So it's very easy. What also is important, those boards are responsive. There can be many people at the same time have the boards open, and the changes gonna be very quickly visible for you without the need to refresh the site. So basically allow this remote multitasking, simulating that we are all in the same room, quickly working together. So it basically answer for a need that we are more and more working remotely right now. If some item is irrelevant, to keep the backlog clear, we can basically also very quickly delete it from the hour board. Not all of the PBIs need to come from the inbox. We can also, in the refined session, create a new one on the spot. For example, anything, and we can add it very quickly to the board. If, for example, something will appear during a meeting, and we want to quickly have it added without impacting, for example, the whole roadmap of the project. So this is the way how it can happen. When I open the PBI, I can have a couple of items here. So what is important besides changing the colors or adding here some emojis in the subject, I can split the PBI. So this is very important, as Karel was talking here, that sometimes some requests comes big and we want to keep them first as a big, as long as they are waiting, for example, for a refinement. And once they are refined, we perhaps want to have them smaller to be easier split the work between the teams. So this allows us this flexibility to have the backlog pretty smooth, pretty small, and then if the needs come, if we start taking the actions, we can basically split the work to smaller pieces to easier assign it to, for example, different developers or different teams, because we can have, for example, a shared team where the QA person and the developer, so the part of the work can be testing it, and the part of the work can be the development job, and this can be have the one task, but we can split it to many PBIs without affecting the project roadmap. So this gives us this flexibility. So I will quickly clear split here, and I will just add the number here, but basically here we can add the description of the task and create those. And as you see, this way I have two PBIs. And this is how I was working with the refine column with some basic features of the application. And this is now I will show you how it works. So basically, once we have the refine session and see, we have here separated in a different column the items that was not refined yet. I will just take one of them and drop them here. And this way I can very quickly move them from the to refine column to refine to mark that, okay, there will be available to take them to the next sprint. We can also assign here the story points to measure the time and that will be needed to take care of this task to happen. So we can have measure the story points for the whole sprint and make sure that the capacity fit the capacity of the team. So this way, very easily we can measure that, and also we can have here already measurement how much time, how much work will be needed based on the definition of our story point from the items that we already refined. This is how basically how we can manage the backlog in the Easy Redmine. And once we have already refined items, we can move to the sprint overview board. And this is where the sprint will be very clearly planned from the items that are already refined. There is probably way more we could talk about the software. This is, let's say, a short teaser. If you have more questions, give them in the QA session, or if you are already our user, reach your accounts manager, or if you interested in the software, open the trial, try to play with it, and if needed, also send us some questions. We will be happy to guide you more through the product. That will be all from me, and Iji, I will give you the word back to studio.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you to you both guys for awesome presentation and very interesting informations which you share with us. And since we have the last 10 minutes, I think it's a perfect time for starting with Q&A. So I'm seeing that we have one question right here. Just gonna switch the presentation. Flora, you're still sharing the screen.
I'm still sharing a screen. Okay, but I will probably. Oh, you took it over. Okay.
Okay,
I
I
wanted to
took
keep
it
it
over.
because I was looking for the next question that we have there actually, and I
Okay.
wanted to show possibly something we can do or how we can work with the PBI separately. But so I will maybe jump to the question, strictly the product question. So
Yeah.
I will take it over here. Back.
I can read the question for now. Can you filter on emojis? If you have hundreds of items, how can I arrange them for a meeting? That is the question. Thank you so much.
I would say the best way, but this will not allow us filtering. If I will go back to the board, we'll be basically having them initially visually organized, so have the different colors assigned, different emojis assigned, and like once we create them, basically working and putting them together the way you like it. And once they have colors and the items, it's very easy to see where they coming from. But answering your questions here on the board, there is no way of filtering. We basically have this imitation of working on the wall, and this also kind of mentally should help you to keep your backlog clear, and like you can add more of them, but you can also visually pretty clearly see when too many of them starts to arise. And if you feel that there is too many, perhaps this is the time, as the Karel was suggesting before, to review what should actually supposed to be there or not. But if you need to do some filtering on the product backlog items, this is possible to do it from the different view. You can go here to the list of the product backlog items, and already here we can use different filters. So we can filter them by the product backlog board, sprint, their status, if they are done in the sprint or belongs to some sprint, author, and other items that are included. So for example, we can add some name or so code in the name that will be used for filtering. So we can here use those two filters to, for example, filter one of the boards and filter the name. If we really got to the point, we have a lot of those items and we can need to clear them somehow. All right, I hope this answered the question. And
All right.
do we have any more questions, Iji?
Yeah, well, there is one more question. Is it possible to use task errors in the storyboard? Will they be also closed when SBI is finished?
Okay, so the let's say the story of the PBI, I will go back to the product backlog boards, doesn't affect the life of a task. So we may set up some notification. We can be notified that something is happening with this PBI item related to the task. We will see these PBIs when we open the task. Once some PBI, I will see if those tasks have some source task. Maybe I can find some good example over here, or I will just move it here to create the PBI and go back and show you how it looked, the source task. It's here. So we can see basically the PBIs created. We can see they belong to some sprint on the task, but the life cycle of the PBI basically doesn't impact the life cycle of the task. So once we close the PBI, we are not automatically closing the task in the project.
All right. Thank you so much, Flora. So we still have some time right now. So if you still have some questions which you need to answer, now is the right time to ask, to make sure that you understand everything we were talking about right here. If there is something very interesting which you need to know, now is the time. So let's have a look. I'm gonna give you a few more minutes. And I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. You should see the questions and answer title. Is that right, Flora?
Sorry?
They are seeing questions and answer, right? Right now.
I don't see anything new coming from
No?
here.
Oh, that's so you should be able to see it right
Yeah,
now,
I
I
see a
guess.
presentation. I told you
Okay.
about new questions.
No. Okay, I don't see anything else. So let's wait a couple more minutes. We still have a few more minutes. So I think I'm gonna designate these few more minutes at the end to say thank you to our both presenters for your time and for the interesting stuff you brought here into this webinar. Thank you to Karel for the presentations and the really nice experience. If you want to say something, Karel.
Thanks very much for the invitation and thanks very much for your attention.
Thank you. And thanks to Flora to explaining how the product looks, and everything around. I don't see the questions right here. So Flora, yes, it's your time for saying bye.
Yeah, thank you everyone for coming here today, and just like I would like to encourage you to give it a try and try to play with it a bit. It's a bit different approach towards the software, but I'm working for it as a data analyst, and personally, I'm really happy how it works. So I would recommend you to give it a try.
Thank you so much. And I have one more thing to share with you guys. So, as you've heard right here throughout the presentation, there are some really interesting information stuff, and you have more questions to ask. Just please do me a favor. You can leave the question right here and we will answer it later, or you can contact your account manager who will be actually ready for answering your questions. If you are into the Scrum boards and you would like to look into it, you still have the chance right now to visit our website, easyredmine.com, where you can start a 30 days free trial, which in Easy Redmine, which actually has these past data which you can use, and you can start to play with the Scrum boards. So, and of course, don't forget to register for a next meeting, next webinar, which we are going to have in 2 months. And there we are going to continue with another topic about the Scrum board. And what you're going to see, you will see in the registration on our website. So I think that's pretty much it from my side. We still have 1 more minute, but I would like to personally thank you to you all to actually make some free time in your busy schedules. And I would like to actually, well, I kind of hope that I'm going to see you on the next webinar also. So have a beautiful rest of your day and take care. Bye-bye.